Open relationships don't work. 5 reasons why. The rise of open relationships in society is a direct result of changing social and cultural norms that are being pushed by millennials. In the past, monogamy was the norm, and anything outside of that was frowned upon. Now we see people openly talking about their open relationships on social media and in movies. In America, studies show around 5% are in some sort of open relationship. Of married couples in America, less than 1% are in an open relationship. From these statistics, research has found that over 92% of these relationships fail. In this video, I will address 5 reasons why open relationships don't work. Reason number 1, time restrictions. In this modern world we inhabit, there are numerous demands on our time. Both men and women have jobs, homes to maintain, transportation to maintain, education, side hustles to make ends meet, bills to pay, children to raise, elderly parents who may need help, etc., etc. With all of these things to deal with, it is very hard for a couple to find enough quality time for themselves as it is. But for this couple to believe that they're going to make things better or spicier by adding more people to the mix by opening their relationship is just a boneheaded idea. Think of it like this. Let's say you're in a marriage for 5 years. Things have gotten a bit stale and each spouse takes the other for granted. This is quite a common occurrence after the newness of the honeymoon phase has faded away. This couple finds out that with all the demands on their time that they frequently find themselves too tired, too stressed, or too busy to make quality time for one another. Then, the brilliant idea of opening the relationship is brought up to try to spice things up, and an agreement is made. When one spouse sees the other spouse go out of their way to make time, to give attention to someone outside of their marriage, while this spouse in the marriage has been overlooked or ignored for the past couple of years, there are usually some very hurt feelings of jealousy and insecurity. Which brings me to the second reason open relationships don't work. Number 2, jealousy and insecurity. Many people find themselves insecure in an open relationship because they're constantly worried about their partner finding someone else. An anonymous female source said, "It doesn't help my boyfriend is into kink and group sex. I also feel constantly worried that he will find someone more attractive than me." This type of insecurity may cause physical and mental health issues, including those related to anxiety, depression, sleep disturbances, or poor self-esteem. The same applies to men when they come to realize that their wife has a much easier time finding other sexual partners than he does. It can also be hard to take when one spouse sees the other put in more effort into their looks, grooming, and manner of dress once the relationship is opened than they did for each other whilst being monogamous. Reason number 3. One person is more into it. Another reason that open relationships don't work is because usually the idea of opening up the relationship is brought up by one spouse. It is rare that both people bring up the subject at the same time. It is also reasonable that if this subject is being brought up, then something is already off in the relationship, be it infidelity or boredom or the spouses or partners wanting different things from one another, but there is already trouble. This creates a power imbalance in the relationship that can cause one spouse who doesn't want the relationship to end to go along with the open solution even if they're not really into it. They could think of it as, I'll just let him or her get it out of their system and then we'll go back to business as usual. This type of situation usually ends badly since there were already problems with the relationship before adding more people to the mix, creating scheduling problems, and then the accompanying amount of jealousy and insecurity that tends to manifest to add to their level of depression, anxiety, and uncertainty, making the whole situation intolerable. Reason number 4. Making their open relationship public. Most couples in open relationships are well aware of the fact that people aren't going to agree with this lifestyle choice. It is most likely that the couple engaging in this lifestyle will not tell their parents, friends, children, or other family members, nor will they introduce themselves to new people like, "Hello, my name is Carrie. I'm married, but down to bang others. They know they will pay a price in being harshly judged if this lifestyle choice goes public. Neither will be very welcome in most social circles once their lifestyle information is made public. When this happens, the couple can feel isolated, and the only people willing to socialize with them are others in open relationships, and that dynamic can be misleading and uncertain, to say the least. I mean, how would you ever really know if these people were your actual friends or just some people looking to keep scoring with you both? Tricky, isn't it? If this couple has children, how do they ever explain, for example, that Tuesday night is Mom's date night with Uncle Larry, and sometimes she just doesn't come home until the following day? Or that Thursday, well, Daddy has date night with Miss Grady from the dentist's office. Also, what happens if the parents don't tell the children and they find out from others? Can you say emotional damage? And number 5, rules won't work. In most open relationships, the couples attempt to set boundaries by agreeing upon some rules for their liaisons, like one spouse should not see the same sexual partner more than 3 times to avoid making any real emotional connection. Or for those into wife swapping or the group thing, they may have a rule that the other spouse must always be present when their partner is having sex with someone else. There can be any number of rules agreed to, but there is one very large obstacle in the way of all this rule setting. And that is, why should either of these people be believed going forward? Consider this. Almost every long-term relationship in the Western world starts with a vow of exclusivity. Then they decide that we can just change the original rules to open up our relationship. The problem here is, if the couple couldn't stick to the first rule of exclusivity, what in the world would lead either party to believe that they can stick to these new rules either? Even more, on some deep level, they both know they don't trust each other very much. And this is yet another reason open relationships fail over 92% of the time. In closing, the data and research on any open relationship lasting more than 10 years is so rare from credible sources that no actual conclusion can be reached about how these lifestyles play out long term without a great deal of conjecture and wishful thinking. The younger adults who think this sounds like great fun to try seem to think that they are creating something new and are usually surprised to find out that our caveman origins were full of this type of behavior too. It wouldn't be unusual for one caveman to be waiting his turn in a corner while another caveman was having intercourse with a female. But there is a reason that this primitive behavior was abandoned thousands of years ago. Maybe people considering opening their relationship should look up why this was abandoned and act accordingly. It's just a suggestion. Be well and survive.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please like, subscribe, and share. Comments are always encouraged.